Oh my god, dude! Last night
You got into a
on
MrGirl?
Twitter, I wish I stayed forgetting what his controversy was.
I'm surprised you forgot. That was a pretty big ass story last year.
I remembered the pedo song. Everything else fucking flew over my head, I guess.
A pedo song's the best thing he's ever done. All the other shit, you know.
The song is actually kind of flames. It's fuego.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Look,
Just I'm so
every
fucking
time
disgusted, dude. It's not even that what he said in the Cuties review, because that's bad. It's the fact that he said to me that it's normal for every adult man, heterosexual man, to be attracted to like 16-year-olds and like 14-year-olds and shit like that, but we just don't say it. Like that fucking notion, that reality that he thinks exists is just so fucking. Oh my god. I fucking hate it. It triggers me. It actually not a lot of things on the internet trigger me, but I got triggered last night by him. I tried to be so cordial on Twitter in the replies, but I was really triggered. Your
guys' thread was making me uncomfortable. I was like, oh Jesus Christ! It just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, because like why did it get to a point where I have to argue like, hey, as a 24-year-old, I'm starting to not be attracted to 18-year-olds anymore, and it's natural to, as you move up, for your age range of attractiveness to move up along with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I don't know. It's just so fucking gross.
He argues from the position so much that I feel like he has that position, and it's not like a perspective thing. I think that's what a lot of people have an issue with him and his content is, especially like the Vosh clip where he was talking about like the different age strippers that are like perfect AI replications of those age groups. He said something about them being like androids or whatever. which club would have the most?
He is one of the. I don't know. He is one of the more interesting people, I would say, on the internet. I've actually watched a lot of his content because I do find it really fascinating. I've watched a lot of his fucking debates. I watch a lot of his content, and yeah, he is. It's even still like it's impossible. And I've told him this to his face. I'm like, I don't know what to make of you. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to tell what's a joke, what's real. It's hard to tell what's an argument he's making just to make people uncomfortable versus like one that's more serious or something like that. A lot of his arguments that he does make, especially, well, naturally about the pedophilia stuff, I tend to disagree with. Like that everybody is like, you know, I guess cool with, you know, 14-year-olds and stuff like that. I disagree.
He plays into that shit too hardcore. Like I've seen people ask him like outright.
But
like,
that's his point. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, it's like they'll be like, "Are you a pedophile or is this just a joke?" And he'll be like, "I don't know. Am I?"
He's doing it to open up a discussion. He's doing it.
He's doing like some weird fucking philosophy shit, but it's like, dude, this is not like a TED Talk. This is not where you do that. Like, just be honest. Like, do you want to fuck kids? Just say no.
I feel like
he would tell you the answer is no.
Pretty clear in my Twitter thread, unless he was lying. Because I was specifically asking what's a joke and what's not, and he clarified, unless he was just lying. It didn't seem like he was lying.
He said he wasn't joking when he said it was like sexually arousing, like the cutest thing.
Yes.
So I was like, what the fuck? Like,
he's like, it's a joke that I said that I admitted it, but it's not a joke that I felt that way. I'm like, what the fuck?
The fuck am I supposed to say at that point?
Even that sentence is confusing, right? Because he's saying the joke is that I'm saying something I genuinely believe in, like that nobody would expect me to admit or something like that. I'm like, well, yeah. So it's not a joke, then, right?
Yeah, so it's not a joke.
Yeah, I think he wants to have like legitimate conversations about this shit, and then he just uses the shock value to get like attention.
No, that's absolutely what he does.
Yeah.
I'd agree more with his points probably
if
it wasn't the this is my like stance shock value fucking jokes.
Yeah, like I may defend his like right to have a platform, but the guy legitimately makes me uncomfortable. Like I'm not afraid to admit that.
That's his goal, so I mean he accomplished it.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just don't really like BX Bullet. That's my take.
Issue is the notion that he thinks everybody secretly, because he was like bringing up studies for this as well, and I think Vito was as well. where he
Yeah.
legitimately thinks that like everybody that's a heterosexual man is like attracted to underage girls to some extent. And I hate that notion because that trivializes and kind of gives an excuse to groomers and actual pedos and people who offend. Because like,
Well,
it
I
just
can
gives
see
an excuse to them, like, oh, it's a natural urge that I shouldn't have given into, but oops, I made a little oopsie, I accidentally took too many cookies out of the cookie jar. Like,
'cause
no!
when you
It's
talk about
worse
this kind
than
of
that.
stuff, you have to be careful about like the implications of what you're saying and what it could be like fortifying in some people's minds. It's not as easy as this is the concept, let's have this discussion. You have to think about like the real world implications if it's that serious.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, hey, he's doing his thing. Because
Oh,
I
he's
liked
doing it.
how I don't like having to agree with Vosh, but I liked how Vosh was he talked about how there's a different way he could have made the discussion to where it would promote people to go to therapy and get help and like fix the core issue without doing all these weird like fucking hyperbolic situations and like hypotheticals. I think that was a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he could definitely do what he's doing in an appropriate way, but he's like leaning into shock value way too much, and it might be attracting the
I
wrong
think he's
crowd.
half like a comedian and also half trying like to be a philosopher, and the two are at odds and a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a way to like do that, but the way he's doing that is not the way.
It feels like, I don't know if he's directly doing this, it might be indirectly, but he's creating kind of like a safe space or like a list of excuses for actual pedos.
How's it going?
So what's going on? This is the first time I've talked to you. You've been
I
a
know.
topic of conversation, especially last night. I guess I don't know.
Oh yeah, I saw your discussion with BX Bullet.
Okay, what did you think of that?
Basically I said I'm not going to talk about her anymore. Here I am.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to talk about her some more.
Yeah.
I think that she clearly is a little unhinged. Overly sensitized to this, seeing ghosts and goblins everywhere. A little
Yeah.
paranoid, I guess. And I've like that's okay. Like I don't know. I don't think she's malicious. I think she actually is trying to do the right thing. I don't think she is, but I think she's a little just like she's freaking out basically. And I don't. I'm worried about it turning into like a reverse dog pile against her, and I don't really want to participate in that. So I'm kind of just trying.
Yeah, you don't want it to turn into like a drama shit fest or something. Yeah.
She just seems a little crazy.
Okay, yeah, you don't want to, I guess, push her like you don't want people fucking with her, basically. Yeah.
No, I don't want people harassing her or fucking with her, and I feel like it's very tempting. It's very lucrative to like. I wanted to do like a victim tour, you know, and get as many donations and subscribers as possible, because you can do that when you get banned, and then if you get unbanned, then you can do it again the next time you get banned, and then well, first of all, I think that's kind of just like slimy or cheesy or something, and then the other half of the victim tour is her getting dogpiled, yeah, and I don't think I should do any of that.
Well, yeah, for a lot of people who get fucked with on social media, for a lot of people, a victim tour is like that's like their only chance at rectifying their situation, right? So, for instance, a couple of years ago, I got demonetized off of YouTube. Like my channel, like got completely demonetized, right? So, of course, as soon as that happened, I was going on Twitter and I was like, "Holy shit, this is fucking terrible!" And it was, but I was definitely exaggerating it a little bit because you know I want to get eyes on it. I want people to be aware of what's happening to me.
It's a
yeah,
golden
it absolutely is, and you know I'm getting like fucking like damage, so I need to do what I can, at least in my head. Like I think there's unethical ways to do it and ethical ways to do it, but yeah, I understand that.
I think the combination of the topics that I discuss and the way I discuss them, combining that with people, when my fans seeing me as this embattled, victimized, persecuted hero, it feels dangerous. I think for me, it's particularly unethical. I think that I need to, given the things I talk about, I need to be very careful that I do so in the most kind of meta ethical way.
That brings like a question though, right? Because you're talking about like you seem to care a lot about like how you come off, right? But you're also the same guy who has like all of these terrible clips, especially like around like pedophilia and stuff like that, right? Like these clips that lead people to like think that you're like an actual fucking pedophile, right? So
well,
like,
it's not immoral if people think I'm a pedophile. That doesn't really hurt anybody else. Like there's nothing. I'm not like doing anything wrong if people think I'm a pedophile.
It hurts you, I would imagine.
I don't know. I guess sometimes. Yeah. You mean like emotionally?
Well, I'm just saying like nobody wants to have the image of like everybody on the internet think they're a pedophile, right? Whether it's true or it's not, like nobody wants to have that baggage on them.
If it were true, I would want everybody to think I'm a pedophile.
Really?
I think so. I think my mission doesn't really work if I'm lying.
What is your mission?
I want people, well, definitely, I would say telling the truth about myself and about like what I see is super central to what I want to do. But I'd say the mission is to get people to empathize with each other and themselves.
Right.
And kind of cut through the social pressures that make us lie about ourselves and about each other, which I think are ultimately dehumanizing. So I guess humanization is the mission.
Do you use like topics like pedophilia as like an anchor to get at something more core to what you're talking about?
I think pedophilia is really interesting because it's it's one of the best examples of thought crime, where people, I think generally people have some trouble distinguishing between what you think about, what you feel, and what you do. And I think that it creates this very oppressive, increasingly so on social media, oppressive environment where you feel like you're not allowed to think or feel certain things, and certainly not allowed to say them. And thinking them and feeling them and saying them become blurred with doing them.
Right.
And to me, that's very dangerous when we start taking our rules about what you can do and apply them to what you can think.
But if you're just out of that, like if you're thinking about like, I guess like being sexually aroused by children, for instance, right? Isn't that a bad thing? Shouldn't we like want to be in a society? No, it's not. Oh my God.
Is it a bad thing that you're thinking it?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you mean by bad.
It's
like you would not want a society where like the average person is thinking about being sexually aroused by a child, right?
I think we might already have that. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean, average person thinking about? You mean like all the time, like a society where it's like,
yeah. So like in the same way, like a group of like guys is probably like, or I guess it depends. I don't know. Like a group, like generally people are sexually attracted to like other people and shit like that, right? But most of the time, generally, it's like adults are attracted to adults. You know, kids are attracted to people their age and stuff like that. You don't want those two to cross paths and mix even in the thought process, right? Because like those are bad thoughts, but you do.
I don't think they're bad thoughts. See, this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't think a thought that if you acted on would be bad is a bad thought. Just the entire framing of thoughts are precursors or potential actions, and we should judge them based on what would happen if you acted on them. I don't agree. Like if I'm walking down the street and I see a grown woman and I think about grabbing her breasts, is that a bad thought? Because it would be a crime if I did that. It would be sexual assault. Is it bad? Do you want a world where I don't fantasize
I feel like
about grabbing the boobies of women on the street?
So say I win an award at like
how about you use my fucking hypothetical
and I walk on stage and I'm like, kill niggers. Is that like, should I not do that?
I want you to answer my hypothetical before you try.
I'm not answering your hypothetical.
Oh, okay.
I'm setting up.
I'm not
you
gonna
said
answer yours.
No, you don't need to answer. I'm just saying.
I won't then.
That's so weird. Like it's not a bad. You don't think it's like bad at all.
You know,
like there's
weird
no implication to saying it.
Answer my hypothetical. That would be weird.
No, but that's what you said. That it's not bad if people say shit like
I
that.
asked
So, like,
you
there's
a
no
fucking
real
question.
world
Do you want me to ask it-
implication.
Do you want me to ask it again?
Why are you getting so upset? I'm literally
Because-
repeating what your point is and then giving you a hypothetical that's
No, you're
the same
changing.
exact
You
thing.
changed the point, and you dropped.
What did I
the N-
change?
You said the N word too to make it.
And
Well, and you're trying to corner me.
you have a
into-
problem with the N word, but we're cool with talking about fucking kids?
All right.
You're what you're doing is you're taking my hypothetical in which you sound.
Yes, I'm changing
like
the one about fucking kids to the N word. Yes.
No, I was talking about grabbing a woman's breast on the street, not fucking kids. You're changing the subject away from a hypothetical in which your worldview sounds insane, and changing it to something completely different.
Okay,
saying the
let's
N-word to a
take your hypothetical. All right.
Okay.
If I
okay.
walk around saying I'm gonna go molest this woman,
No.
should you not
let's-
like act on that guy?
I'll ask you again because I don't think you remember it. If I'm
Okay, go
walking down
ahead.
the street and I see a woman with big voluptuous breasts, and I fantasize without saying anything or doing anything, if I think about grabbing her breasts, which I think is a normal enough thought to have, we can all agree. Is that a bad thought to have because it would be a crime if I did it? Is it bad that I thought it? Would it be more ideal?
What do you mean by bad? As in, like, act on
I
it?
don't
Like, you need to be, like, thrown in prison? Or it's
Augie
just
said-
bad that you're thinking about
Augie-
sexually
Augie
assaulting a
said-
woman?
Yeah, wait.
Augie said these thoughts are bad. And so
Yes.
what I'm at right and
Randomly
so what-
thinking about sexually assaulting a woman would be bad, yes.
Okay, I guess that then that answers my question. I don't think that having sexual fantasies about or any kind of fantasies about doing things that are illegal, like the idea that I'm only going to think about things that I'm also going to do, is very strange. I think it's a very constricting, oppressive way.
Well, I think you're fucking retarded. If I
Really?
only fantasize about, like, killing black people, I think that's a bad thing. I think it's, like, objectively bad.
If you only fantasize,
Oh, yeah, because you're just fantasizing about it, so it's, like, it's not bad, right?
it's not bad to fantasize. No, I can fantasize about whatever I want.
Fantasize about fucking kids, you know, shooting up schools. None of it's bad. It's all good, right? It's all just objective, moral, neutral.
What is your?
I mean, if you
object-
consistently
Why are
have
you so
those
confused?
thoughts, that indicates that.
I think your worldview is fucking retarded. I think you don't
Okay.
understand that thoughts have, like, real world implications and actually can lead up to action.
Okay, so are you saying you don't think about things that you wouldn't actually do?
I don't think about, like, randomly sexually assaulting women and killing black people, no.
I don't either.
Do you want to answer my question?
I just did. Are you having trouble remembering now? What's going on here?
The question is, are you saying to me and to everybody watching,
I
that
called you a
do-
retard. That's what I'm saying.
Are you saying you don't think about things that you wouldn't actually do? Do you try? Are you like a priest or something? Like, do you?
No,
actually
but you're
try
saying, like,
not
it's
to think
not
about
bad. You're saying, like,
Feel
it
like
wouldn't
there's
be bad.
levels
for
to
that
Okay,
to
so
happen.
you're saying that you, like everybody else, you do think about things you wouldn't do, but you acknowledge that these thoughts that
Don't
you
put your
have-
weird, intrusive thoughts on me, okay? We're not doing that game. We're not doing the, oh, yeah, we all like fucking kids sometimes. We all like thinking about fucking kids every once in a while. Don't
I'm
put
not
that on
talking-
Yeah,
me.
I
I'm
never
not-
think about that shit. But like,
I'm not. Oh, good for you. I'm not talking about fucking kids.
Okay,
I'm saying.
I
I'm saying. Do you think that thinking things is immoral, like the same way doing things is? Do you actually try to?
It's
prevent
not on the
yourself?
same level. There's obviously different levels.
So it's a
Yeah,
lesser.
that's what I'm
It's
saying,
a lesser
yeah.
evil to think about bad things.
So like to visualize the levels, like let's compare it
Yeah.
to murder, right? Like
Okay.
there's one thought, which is the base level, which is like, what if I killed someone, lol? What would happen? What would it feel like, lol? And then there's the next level where you see someone on the street, you're like, I'd really wish I could kill that person right now, you know?
It's
Okay.
just like how
There's
you
just-
saying and thinking about, like, you know, the Virginia Tech shooter, the mass shooter. You empathizing with him and saying some weird shit that made your classmates uncomfortable actually made them fear for their lives. And that's why you got thrown in prison.
I don't understand. I don't know why you're bringing that up.
What do you mean you don't know why I'm bringing... That's... Your words
are you
impact how other people feel.
Yeah, I know what fucking happened. I was there.
Okay. So I don't understand what the fuck your hypothetical is.
Well, in the story you just brought up, I said something that made people uncomfortable, but we're talking about thinking things.
Thinking, saying... Didn't
Okay,
you
so
say
are you
saying it
telling
isn't
me
a
you
problem
can't-
either? Is that
Are you
not a
telling
thing
Are
anymore?
you telling me that you don't know the difference between thinking something,
Mr. Girl,
saying it, and
do you
doing
think
it?
saying it? Do you think saying it is fine?
Saying what?
Do you think saying bad things is fine?
Do I think saying bad things?
Like there's nothing bad about it? Because we're talking about thoughts, but what do you think about saying it?
Well, let's finish talking about thoughts first.
Why don't answer the fucking question?
Well, you're changing the subject.
You're saying it's irrelevant, but you're not answering the question.
It is irrelevant because I asked you.
How is it
If you
irrelevant?
try to police your own thoughts, do you actually believe that thinking things is immoral when you do it? And you brought up an example of me getting arrested for saying something in a classroom. So actually, you're changing the subject, and I'm happy to engage with you
Just
on that
answer
subject.
the question. Do you think that saying it is bad?
I think your question is a little unnuanced. I'd be happy to discuss.
Unnuanced, nigga. Then add the nuance and then answer.
Well, I don't. You're evading the first topic. Let's finish that first, and then we can get into the second one.
Fucking God. Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Do your fucking. Go down your line of logic.
All right, my line of logic is: you said that it's bad to think about certain things.
Yes.
My question for you is: do you make a conscious effort to try not to think about things that you think are bad? Or are you saying that you, like anybody else, realistically, you do think about things that you wouldn't actually do? However, you recognize that these thoughts are bad yourself.
Isn't that the same thing as consciously trying not to think about bad things?
No, just because you think something's bad doesn't mean you don't do it. Or that
Yeah,
you
but if
try
I
not
think
to do it.
something's bad, I wouldn't be trying to think about it.
I think lots of people do things that and think about things and say things that they probably have defined for themselves as bad. Okay, but if you're saying it's both, that's fine. I'm genuinely asking you. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to understand your framework for how you apply the concept of morality to your own thoughts. Because I think that's what we disagree about, not about the specifics about shooting people, being racist, or fucking kids. I think mostly what we disagree about is are your thoughts under like the kind of purview of your morality and self-policing? And I feel that what you're saying is exactly what I'm saying I'm trying to push against, that people seem to feel like their thoughts and other people's thoughts should be subject to the same restrictions as actions. And I think that's creativity destroying and dehumanizing.
Don't you think that's the purpose of like going to therapy though? To kind of dismiss those intrusive thoughts and stop them at the source? What do you think the point of therapy is for people that kind of think that and then it leads to action?
I don't... my guess is if you went to a therapist and you said, I have thoughts about killing people or raping people, and the therapist said, I think they'd probably assess you for how disturbing you found it. And if you're saying you're upset by it, then sure, they can help you. They might assess you for how likely you are to do those things. And if they assess that you're not likely to do them, then I don't think they would say you have a problem, no. I think that the mental health world is probably much more aligned with my view on this than yours.
I disagree.
Okay, well that's subjective.
It is. It's just that's just what I think.
So, you're talking about like intrusive, or not like bad thoughts, right? Like, let's say,
Well, yeah, they're only
I
intrusive
want it.
if you wish you didn't have them.
So now
Yeah,
that we went
yeah,
down your line
yeah,
of logic, can you answer the
well,
question if you think it's fine to
yes.
say stuff like that? Like
What? Okay, so
like
your
bad
answer,
thoughts.
well, just to be clear, your answer is that you do try to suppress thoughts about things that you think
Can
are
you
immoral.
fucking now you're not answering. Is it okay to vocalize those thoughts?
Is it okay to vocalize those thoughts? I think that if you were walking down the street and you tell a woman that you want to grab her breast, no, I think that you're harassing her. I think that if I tell you I want to grab a woman's breast when I walk by her on the street, then yeah. I think that it depends on the situation.
All right, let Bowblax go now because he wanted to talk.
Yeah, I have a point that I want to make, but
Okay.
I don't seem to be able. Okay, so the issue here is that like there's bad thoughts, but Mr. Girl is saying it's okay to have bad thoughts as long as you don't act on them. So let's say let's like change it to like something more lighthearted, like I don't know, like stealing from a store. Typically, you would have a bad thought of stealing from a store, but you wouldn't do it because it's immoral. But you would think of doing it because you want that thing. You would get gratification from getting that thing for free. So if we apply it to, you know, wanting to be sexual with kids, you know, the bad thought, just because it's not something you should do, it isn't bad because it's illegal. It's bad because if you have that thought, that means that's something you desire. Like, you inherently desire wanting to sexually interact with kids. That's the issue, not the fact that it's illegal, and that's what should be purged.
Do you think you can control
fixed.
what you desire?
Yeah, if you work hard enough at it, you can like.
Then
change
why are there
what you desire.
gay people?
Okay, I don't like
because
this
because being gay isn't immoral. What?
But they're
being gay doesn't hurt anybody.
Why they're gay? Well,
why would they need to change it? Why would they need to change the desire? It doesn't hurt anyone to be gay.
There are countries where you can get executed for being gay.
Then maybe the people in those countries would try to control their urges and stop. It sucks that happens.
Hear me out.
Yeah, okay, I'll hear you out.
Lots of people grow up in probably most people are born into situations where being gay gets you treated horribly by the people around you.
Okay.
Up to and including being killed. You're telling me that those people are choosing to be gay?
No, they're not choosing to be gay. They're born
gay.
gay.
Why don't they just choose what they desire, if that's possible?
If you naturally desire something, like let's say you naturally desire kids or whatever, that is something that you can work towards suppressing or reversing.
I know that you're saying that, but I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I don't think we can control what we desire, and I think that I could probably come up with a lot of evidence if you just look around you that's true. I don't. If we could control what we desire, then nobody would do anything bad.
That's the whole point of like therapy, though. It's like self-control. That's society. Without self-control, you don't have society.
You can always rewire your brain. If you know anything about psychology, you'd know that. I don't.
Okay, so do you think that it's a consensus in the psychological community that you can change your sexual orientation?
Why are you asking about consensus on shit that we obviously don't have enough like knowledge on?
I would say that this has been.
Do you know the fucking peer-reviewed studies about no, we don't fucking know that. We're commentary channels.
I would say that it's pretty common knowledge at this point that you cannot change a gay person into being straight.
No one's making that argument.
Well, he just said if you knew anything about psychology, you would know that you can change your desires. And I'm saying that I think if
really change them, but at least like suppress them. If you were gay, like technically, if you did enough therapy, you could probably trick your brain into like avoiding those type of desires.
Okay,
not
so
that you would want to.
But trick your brain implies that that's not really changing your desires. It's more masking.
Well, what I mean by that is like anything in your brain. You can change anything in your. Fuck, I'm having a hard time.
I don't think
I know what I'm trying to say. I'm just having a hard time verbalizing it.
You're saying that therapy is like a character creator where you can just like change your mental attributes to be whatever you wish they were, whatever your parents or society wishes they were.
You can't change them, but you can like manipulate whether or not you have like stronger or less strong desires.
So are you just advocating for people to just give into like their base desires and stuff?
Again, you are drawing this link as though just because you think something, that means you have to do it. And I would say
no, but I'm saying like thinking it is bad, and you should actively work to curb that kind of thought.
I know.
So are you trying to like?
I don't understand why you think that.
What? That's like the whole purpose of therapy is like curbing the thought because
I
it equal bad.
I hear you saying that, and I don't think that's what therapy is, and I don't agree with
What do you think therapy is?
Therapy is there's different kinds of therapy, but I would say overall, therapy is a safe place for you to learn different relationship skills that you can apply to your relationships, including your relationship with yourself.
I wasn't talking about therapy for people on the spectrum. I'm talking about like therapy related to the subjects we're talking about, like pedophilia.
Okay, so you're saying if somebody goes...
You're talking about social awareness and shit, like...
You're saying if somebody goes to a therapist and says, I'm a pedophile, I need help. You're asking what the point of the therapy is?
Yeah.
I would assume that it would be about trying to figure out why the person lacks attraction to adults
Well, not necessarily. Not all pedophiles lack attraction to adults.
Well, okay. So if you're a pedophile and you're also attracted to adults, I don't think you have that big of a problem.
Oh my fucking god! Like, this is why it's so hard to talk to you, dude.
I mean, what's the problem? Then okay, then
why do you not think that's a problem though? Like that should be curbed.
Just date adults. You know, if you're attracted to kids and adults, you can just date the adults, and then
you're so smart, dude.
If you feel like you can't control yourself around kids, then avoid situations with kids.
That's it. Just avoid kid.
You
solve the equation for pedophiles.
What would you do if you woke up and found yourself incredibly attracted to children, but also adults tomorrow?
Just don't watch kids react, and you'll be good. Thank you, Mr. Girl.
You're welcome. I think the therapy would also turn into a lot of how are you going to manage this? How are you going to handle this being such a big part of your internal life that you likely cannot share with too many people? I think kids would be safer if people could tell their close friends, spouses, therapists, that they are pedophiles.
Can you go back to playing Halo, Augie? Sheep Quest. Right. How about some Sheep Quest?
Yeah, I'm just kind of letting y'all go at it.
I do have one more like small little discussion we could have. What do you like consider yourself, Mr. Girl? Like in terms of like
a god?
No, like do you think you're a pedo? Do you think you're a hebephile? Do you think you're like a no-map? Like or do you just think you're regular? Like I'm just curious from your perspective.
I think I'm I don't really like labels.
You don't like labels.
But if you were to give yourself like a like which one do you think you align with the most? I'm just curious.
You're about brutal honesty, right? What's the label that you'd fit with?
Yeah, because I was. If you have an answer, feel free to cut me off at any point. Because I was thinking about it the other night when you were like explaining your whole situation, and I saw the Cuties clip, and you explained it. And assuming everything you said in the tweet thread is true and not like satire or joke, which I assume it was.
The Cuties review is not satire. No.
It seems like you would be like a no-map, right? Because
the Cuties review is not satire.
No, yeah. I'm just like double checking because some people are like, oh, I don't know if you were even trolling in like the Twitter thread, so I'm just like triple checking. You know, I assumed you were being truthful, because no-map stands for non-offending minor attracted person, and you said you were attracted to the girls in the Cuties review, but obviously you're not offending and you haven't done anything. But you were attracted to those minors, so that would make you a no-map, correct?
I'm confused because
I think you're taking this a little too...
no, you said earlier that kids would be more safe if people just came out and said they're pedophiles, right? I'm not asking you to... No one's asking you to say that you're a pedophile, but like, what would you call yourself? So pedophiles should just come out and say, yeah, I'm a pedophile, which obviously would have social implications. I don't know if you should
come out and say that to the general public, as I...
But you're a content creator advocating for it, so I feel like you should be.
I'm advocating for what?
You should be open. Like, what are you? Like, you're into adults?
Okay, here's my problem with this.
Okay, bro.
My problem is that Augie asked me why I talk about pedophilia, and like I don't even talk about it that much, but I understand from your point of view, I talk about it all the time because it's the only content of mine that you've heard about or seen. My answer is pedophilia is a unique topic in which it is one where seemingly normal, intelligent people, such as yourself, are willing to go all in on the topic, on the idea of thought crimes, where normally you would have to be like a nun to say something like, oh, well, if you think about stealing, you're committing a sin, because thinking it is the same as doing it, and you need to go say 10 Hail Marys in a bathroom stall and whip yourself. Normal people don't really think that way in American society. We don't think, well, thinking about something is the same as doing it. But in the combination of the topic of pedophilia and online spaces, people start to lose it a little bit, and they start to think that actually thinking and feeling things is the same as doing them. They will get very angry and back themselves into corners and arguments, and basically just become completely incapable of making coherent arguments.
I think there should be a distinction between the two of thought, thinking, and doing. I just think both are bad. I think one's less bad than the other, but I do think it's very important to have that distinction.
Okay, just the fact that you're saying like, hey guys, I think thinking about fucking a kid is less bad than actually fucking a kid. The fact that you even have to say that.
Well, you were saying that people think it's equal. That I'm responding directly to what you said.
I understand that, but I'm saying that just where we are with this, with thoughts versus actions and feelings versus actions, is alarming to me. And so I understand your view that maybe I'm just saying all of this because I'm a pedophile, and maybe
I'm not. That's not my view.
Okay, but there seems to be a view of that about me.
Well, I just think it's weird that you hold the opinion.
That's what. Wait, technical. That's why I'm asking like what you consider yourself, because I don't want to like mislabel you, and I have a pretty good idea of like what you stand for based on everything you've said. So I'm curious like what. I think, but based on what I've seen, I think no map is the most apt description, but I'm wondering if, like, you agree with it, because I don't want to, like, mislabel you or anything.
No, I don't agree. No, I don't agree with that.
But you did say you were attracted to the minors and cuties, right? Like, sexually aroused? That's what you said in the review. And then you said the review is not satire.
I did say those things.
So that means you would be attracted to a minor attracted person, and then you're not offending, so no.
I mean, you think if a 12-year-old twerks on your lap and you get a boner, then you're a pedophile?
No, I'm not saying pedophile. I'm saying no map. That means you would be attracted to the minor person. Literally, you're attracted. You get a boner when you're attracted, so that means you would be attracted to the minor on you.
Do you think that if a 12-year-old twerks on your lap and you get a boner, then you're a map?
Yes, because you're attracted to that person. That's what MAP stands for, minor attracted person.
Okay, are you a pedophile?
No.
Okay, so if I told you we're gonna play a game, and the game is a 12-year-old's gonna twerk on your lap for 5 minutes. The hottest 12-year-old you've ever seen, by the way.
Okay.
Hottest. Well, I don't.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Hold on, just let me finish. Let me finish. There's gonna be a shotgun aimed at your head, though.
Okay.
And if you get a boner in those 5 minutes, it's gonna blow your brains out.
I would survive.
But if you make it 5 minutes, you get $1 million. Would you do it?
Yeah. I'd survive 100%.
Bowblax, don't go down his weird fucking hypothetical.
But yeah, this is a weird hypothetical. I don't know how it even got to this
I don't know why
point.
we're talking about this. That was a weird. I'm sorry, that was a weird.
Yeah,
question.
that is a weird question.
Let's
and you said hottest 12-year-old. Like no 12-year-old is hotter than another one to me. Like what?
Yeah, right. They're all equal. I couldn't even imagine one knowing that one 12-year-old's more attractive than another.
Well, being sarcastic. I feel like you're being sarcastic.
I am being sarcastic.
See, like you act like that's normal, but for me, that's not.
I do. Okay,
Maybe there's more people in the world like that than I imagine.
You said yesterday on Twitter that if you're attracted to a 16-year-old in your mid-20s, then you have some kind of mental disorder. So I think
yes.
I don't agree with that. I think that's I think that's excessively strict and unrealistic.
I disagree, and if it's unrealistic, that means that there's more people out there that are mentally like that than I thought, and that's kind of scary.
I would say it is probably nearly everybody.
Because, like, I'm 24, and I'm getting to the point where I'm not even really, like, that attracted to 18-year-olds, most 18-year-olds, so...
You want to fucking medal?
No, I'm not saying I want to medal, I'm just saying, like, that's how I am, and I assume the way I think is normal.
You shouldn't assume that. I'm telling you.
Okay, maybe I assume there should. Okay, maybe I should assume there's more people who are attracted to kids as adults in the world. My bad. Oops.
I think you should. Yeah.
Okay, I guess there's more. hebophiles out there than I thought.
I would say that it is so normal to be attracted to a 16-year-old that we probably don't need a special label for it.
I heavily disagree.
Well, we're talking about physical. We're talking about physical attraction, right?
Yeah, I know. I know we are.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, if we're talking about mental or
Okay,
emotional attraction,
there-
like yes,
there
most people are not going to want to marry a 16-year-old for sure. I
Okay.
agree with you there.
Yeah, there might be like some 16-year-olds who like, you know, look more mature, and then like maybe
Most
some
people have gone
sense,
through
like-
puberty by 16.
I know, but you still look like a decent amount younger. Like, have you seen a picture of a 16-year-old next to like a 23-year-old? Like that, you can tell that they're different ages.
Yes.
And I'm not attracted at all to the younger, and
Okay,
I
I
assume
hear
most
you.
people are.
I hear
And I'm not
you.
saying that to seem more morally righteous. I'm just trying to explain, like, that's how the
That's
way
where you're
I
coming
feel
from.
is how I assume most people are. Like, do you think I'm in the minority? Do you think like I'm
Yes.
a chronophilia? You think I have like a weird fetish for like older people?
I think that you have a extremely naive view of this, yeah. And it may be because of your own experience.
I'm going based how I feel
I know.
on
I know, but I
on
just don't
girls
it's
and
not,
stuff, and I assume it's the same. And the only person who have had it, the only
well, you
people
shouldn't
I
assume
know
everybody
who
else is sexually the same as you.
No, I'm not assuming everybody else is. I'm assuming majority of people are. That's why there's a condition called
Well, I don't-
pedophilia.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think you should. Well, pedophilia does not apply to 16.
Or hebophilia. My bad.
It's a phebophilia for 16.
Yeah, it's a hoobadooobadooophilia.
A
Yeah,
hooba
my bad.
dooba doo. Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's hebophilia. My bad, misspoke. I apologize.
Hebophilia is not that you are attracted to 16-year-olds. It's that you're only attracted to 16-year-olds.
That's a phebophile.
No, I mean, it
You
means
guys are
you're
mixing it
attracted
around.
to anyone
whatever. My
post
point is that
in
those
puberty, like
labels
13 to,
are about primary attraction, primary ages of attraction. They're not about inclusive. Like if you say I am attracted to my 40-year-old wife and we've been together since I was college, but I also find 16-year-olds hot. Like no one is gonna. No one in like the psychological community is going to give you a special orientation label for that.
Who looked of age but was actually a
I
minor.
disagree.
I remember there being
Okay,
some
that's
big
fine.
Have you
dressed
debated like people
scantily
in the
but was a kid.
psychological sphere about this?
About what? I fucking agree with them. No, this is no. There's no. I haven't.
So it's just a
There's no
consensus
one to debate.
on what you're
no
saying.
one is going. Yes, there. I would say there's a psychological consensus. If you look at any study on this, you can choose the study. You can look it up. You can Google it right now if you want.
No, I feel like I'd have to clear my cache.
Yeah, again, because you can't tell the difference between looking.
No,
up
I can
a
tell the
study-
difference. It just makes me uncomfortable for a reason.
Okay, well, if you're too uncomfortable to think about this or read about it in any serious way, then I think you should concede that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really, I don't know what I'm talking about, yet you can't actually pick a label. Yeah, you refer to people as pedophiles.
I don't believe.
Well, he thinks being
labels.
attracted to a 16-year-old as an adult is normal.
He thinks that's entirely normal.
So
Yeah.
like Mr. Girl here
I
would
would
be
say I
the
know
normal
that
one,
it's
and I'd
normal.
have like chronophilia or whatever for like.
No,
older
I'm not trying to
people.
label you either. I think pedophile is a useful label in the DSM. Pedophilic disorder is defined as having attraction to prepubescent children that either you have acted on or that you find personally distressing.
My biggest issue with like
And if
all
you
of
don't
this,
meet those criteria, then I don't think it's really meaningful to call yourself a pedophile. I guess you could just be
don't-
like a happy pedophile that's never acted on it, and you just think about fucking kids all day. I think that person. It is useful. There's utility in defining yourself as a pedophile if that
I
describes. you.
feel like saying that it's normal for like adults to be attracted to 16-year-olds validates bad actors. That's what I think, and I think it's
I know because
dangerous.
do you see the implication there that to validate a feeling is also to validate the action? Do you see that connection you're making, right?
Yeah,
I'm
because there is a
saying one.
connection.
I'm saying one can lead to another, and I'm saying
I
if you
understand
have
that,
that
but
feeling,
can you-
if you
do you
have
think-
that feeling, you're not bad yet. But
But-
maybe you should figure
can you-
something
can
out
you-
so you
can
don't
you-
do that shit,
can you-
and you
can you
don't
make
fucking
this-
groom 16-year-olds.
Can you make this conceptual leap with me?
Okay.
If you it is normal to want to steal things, right?
Okay.
Not normal. It's not normal to think about it all the time, but it is normal to have.
But yeah, you wouldn't be diagnosed with a disorder for thinking that you want to steal something. Yeah.
Exactly. And so what I'm saying is, if I say I wanted to, like, man, that thing was really nice at that place, I wanted to steal it. You wouldn't think like, Max is starting to fall down the slippery slope towards kleptomania. You would dismiss that as like, oh, that's a normal thought. And so,
no, but if it's like a really genuine thought, it might lead to action. If it's just like, oh, it'd be nice to steal that because it'd be free.
Technicals is right. There's a difference between like, oh, that looks nice, it'd be cool to steal it, versus like, I really want to steal that, but I'm holding back, you know? There's like two different levels of thoughts.
You would not feel a need to set me aside and say, hey, I don't know what's going on with you, but you know that was a really bad thought, right, dude?
Okay, if you... I would... Right.
I don't think you would say
if the scenario was like, every time you walk into a store...
Yes, I understand
that. Well, what do you mean? I'm making a scenario based on what you said. What?
I didn't say every time I walk into a store, I think 12-year-olds are hot or 11-year-olds or
no,
whatever.
I'm trying to make... Oh my god, I'm just trying to make like the difference.
You are
like,
hyper focused on auditing.
I didn't finish my sentence. How do you know what I'm hyper focused on?
Because I don't want you to finish the
sentence. You don't want... Why? What? We're arguing. Well, I'll let you finish your fucking concept.
Hold on.
What?
So... Back to what Bowblax was saying earlier about like desensitizing and basically like promote. If I'm sitting at home watching TV all day and there's advertisements about like Popeye's chicken, like every ad break, there's like Popeye's chicken. I'm thinking about Popeye's chicken. It's an intrusive thought now because I've been advertised the Popeye's chicken, and then I might go order some Popeye's chicken. Okay. If I'm watching MrGirl all day and you're making constant opinions about, well, it's normal if everyone like is attracted to 16-year-olds. But you're not like actively promoting people fucking 16-year-olds. You're basically saying the attraction is totally normal. It's not a bad thing. Biological, all that stuff. Well, someone might hear that. They might see that and be like, oh, well, I guess it's normal that I like the 16-year-old girl. And then they might do something.
You feel that by talking to me, you've become more attracted to children?
No, because I'm not fucking weird. And you're not that persuasive.
Okay, so but if I were more persuasive and you were more weird, then I might unlock something.
Yeah, if the stars aligned, yes, this conversation would get me to fuck kids. You're right, MrGirl. If the stars aligned.
Okay, so you're saying thoughts can lead to actions. And so therefore, we should just say the thoughts.
Unless you just act without the synapses going off in your brain, then yes.
Well, I agree that it's hard to act without thinking. So you're saying, I guess... okay, so we think shooting people is bad. Do you think playing Call of Duty is bad then?
What the fuck? No, because you're not thinking about shooting people. You're thinking about the fucking game. You're not thinking, oh yeah, I love killing people on the streets. I love warfare. You're thinking, oh hell yeah, my KDR is fucking sick.
Okay, so if I make a game called Call of Kid Fuckers, where 16 people,
why do you always 16 adults, do this?
No, hear me out. 16 adults and 16 kids are in a map, a preschool map, and you chase each other around and fuck each other. It's just a game, so you would be okay with that because it's not actually advertising.
Are you fucking retarded? You make up these crazy hypotheticals. Call of Kid Fuckers? That's not it.
And you said I was leaping earlier when I was trying to compare thinking about stealing something versus like actively having
Call of Duty, you have two teams of people running around shooting each other, and you're saying that wouldn't make people actually think about shooting each other, and that you're comfortable with that because you're saying because it's just a game.
Then you bring hold
on. You're saying because it's just a game, it's not going to make people actually.
I'm not saying just because it's a game. I'm saying because there's elements of that aren't just, oh yes, I love fucking killing people. It's not you thinking, oh, I love murdering people. It's you're enjoying a game. It's a simulation.
Okay, so if I was enjoying a simulation in a different game, identically structured, called Call of Kid Fuckers, are you saying that you would be comfortable with that?
You're conflating sexual gratification with entertainment, and it doesn't fucking work.
What if I wasn't sexually gratified by it? What if it was just the game?
If it was your day-to-day, then I guess we need the nukes. Call in the fucking nukes if that's your day-to-day and it's not sexual gratification, I guess.
My point is that when you change the point of when you have a game about killing each other, which is what Call of Duty is about, that's how the game is scored, and the purpose of the game is to kill each other. You're saying that you are willing to do all of the higher order intelligent thought that I agree with, where you say, well, just because you're killing people in a game, that doesn't make you more likely to kill people in real life. When I change the purpose of the game to fucking kids, your brain turns to mush and you're unable to even follow the hypothetical.
Really? That's what's happening? My brain is turning... You made it about fucking children and my brain is going to mush?
Yes. You literally can't answer you can't even conceptualize
No, I can't conceptualize your kid fucking
game. And you can't conceptualize how you're a nomad.
My bad, dude. My bad.
Okay.
I thought...
Here's my thought experiment to you is, if playing Call of Duty
homework.
It is your homework. If playing Call of Duty doesn't make us more likely to kill each other or to think about killing each other, how does me making a movie review and a rap song about disturbing thoughts about children make my viewers or anybody more likely to fuck kids?
Because the purpose of a game like Call of Duty, if you ask any of the game devs, they'll say, oh, it's for entertainment purposes. We want to get the maximum out of it. Shit like story, compelling elements that make a game entertaining. When you make stuff like the Cuties review, where you're saying like 11-year-olds, they did a successful job of sexually arousing me, and then make a song saying I'm a pedophile, what you're doing is you're validating the people with those thoughts because you're being genuine. You said it's not satire. It's not for comedic or entertainment purposes. That's your beliefs.
Okay, so let's test your defenses. Instead of
those were statements. That's not a defense.
Well, your defenses of Call of Duty. You said that the game dev said that this is for entertainment purposes and that it's not actually about killing people. So let's imagine a hypothetical game where the purpose of the game is to fuck kids, called Call of Kid Fuckers. Would you accept... I know the mush is happening, but let's try to fight through it.
No, it's just you're fucking weird.
Let's try
that's
to fight.
A natural response to you talking about fucking children.
But can you answer this question? Would you accept those same defenses of a game developer that made a game called Call of Kid Fuckers about fucking kids? I would suggest no, you wouldn't. Absolutely not.
I don't see where you're going with this.
I'm showing
as if those are like comparable.
Well, it is the comparison I'm making. You're saying that talking about things makes people more likely to do them. And if that's true, then why are you okay with Call of Duty? And the answer is, well, the game devs say that it's not actually about trying to get people to kill each other. It's just a game. But if the game was called Call of Kid Fuckers, you would flip out and call for it to be banned.
Yeah.
There is something... I know.
If that's a double standard, I'm comfortable. How about that?
Okay, that's fine. I understand that. So back to the first question. The only question Augie's asked me so far is, why do you talk about pedophilia? And what you just said is the answer. If I talked about it's natural to have feelings about murdering people or aggression or anger, there would not really be much to talk about. Most people would say, well, yeah, but we just don't do it. It's okay to think about it. It's okay to play games about it. It's okay to watch movies about it. It's not okay to do it. But when it comes to...
Because I think most people don't think about it every day and like actually act on it.
Okay, whatever.
And when they do act on it, it's terrible.
I would say
if I played Call of Kid Fuckers every day, even if I never actually thought about it or acted on it, you'd still find
if you have a passing thought, let's say you're super mad at someone, and you're like, oh, I wish I could kill them, right?
Mm-hmm.
The satisfaction you would be getting is for getting that person off of the earth, and then you wouldn't have to deal with them anymore, and that's the satisfaction you would get. If you have that thought about fucking a kid, the satisfaction you would get is the satisfaction of fucking someone who's underage. You see how there's the difference, right? Do you see the difference there, Mr. Girl?
Yes, I understand that. I understand the surface differences in those two fantasies. But what I'm
like wanting to get rid of someone annoying versus wanting to fuck a kid.
I understand that you find one easier to empathize with than the other. What I'm getting at is that when it comes to certain thoughts, your willingness to engage in anti-thought or thought crime or thought policing, that kind of framework comes out like super strong. And so being against thought policing and especially emotion policing, that is why I am attracted to this topic in particular. because it is the one topic where even the most liberal, open-minded, forward-thinking people will say that certain thoughts should be policed and even punished.
100% get your perspective. It's like you are against, fucking kids 100%, but you think it should be okay to think about wanting to do that. Right?
I think it. Yeah, I don't think that. I don't even know if it's something we can control. But yeah, I think it should. I think it's okay.
Now, I
think about whatever you want.
I think if you think about that, it's not a crime, but you should be taking the steps to remove those thoughts, and that's where we disagree. Right?
Yes.
So I think, yeah, okay.
Well, no. If you think you're actually going to act on it, of course you should go to therapy. If you're a pedophile, and you're only attracted to kids, that's like, even if you never act on it, I would say that's a pretty miserable way to live your life. So I think pedophilia is a mental disorder, and that you should get treatment for it. But where I draw the line for what pedophilia is at the same place that the DSM draws the line.
So you think like
definition. I agree. I go along with and believe in the psychological community's definition of pedophilia.
Okay, so
when people start saying things like you're a pedophile if you're attracted to a 16-year-old when you're 25, I think that's pretty nutty.
Wait, okay, so you have an issue with it when it's like when they're primarily only wanting to fuck kids, like when you're an adult and you want to fuck like a teenager or a kid, that's bad. But if you like adults and kids, then it's not as big of a deal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to ruin your life if you're attracted to kids and adults and you can manage it and not act on it and not sexualize your relationship with kids. Then and not look at child porn or whatever else. Like, yeah, that's not.
But then if you're only attracted to kids, then it's an issue.
Well, if you're only attracted to kids,
why can't they be non-offending, and not do any sexual stuff and then not act on the urges?
It's a miserable way to live.
So it's less miserable if they also like adults? If you just tack something extra on?
Well, yeah, because then you can still have sex and still have relationships. If you can't have relationships with anybody but an 8-year-old, then your choices are to either rape people or be alone forever, which I think is pretty non-ideal. And yes, I think if that's your situation, you should. Well,
there's people who are asexual and they're fine with like being alone forever.
Yeah, I think asexual people should probably seek treatment too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think that if your sexual, I guess attractions make it so that you either want to break the law or you are. I mean, like if it's bothering. If you're asexual and it doesn't bother you, then like no, I'm not saying like you should be sent to therapy. But if you want to have romantic or sexual relationships with other people, or you feel like part of you does, then like yeah, I think that's something you could try to like unlock with therapy.
Isn't asexual as a term
and then with therapy
you
should
with it, though?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It means that.
And then with therapy, wouldn't you also say that you should lock up your desire to want to fuck kids, whether you also want to fuck adults or not?
I think you should learn to manage it. I don't know if you can lock. I don't know if repressing it or trying to make it invisible from yourself is really a good idea either. I think.
Why is it not a good idea?
Because I think one, it's kind of just dehumanizing to you. Two, I don't think it's going to make you less likely to offend. Most child molesters are not pedophiles.
Okay.
They're just opportunists. Children are easier to rape, and they don't know what's going on, and you can control them and be alone with them much more easily than an adult. I would say that's probably the main reason.
I hate to be that guy, but like, do you have like a study for that? Like genuinely, like, because I'm curious.
I don't know, but if you, no.
Are you just saying like how?
No, I'm not just making it up. That is, I have seen people have done studies about it, and I have seen them, but I don't remember the author or where it was. But
So
you
you
should,
so
if
basically
if you don't believe me, you should look into it. And if you find evidence that I'm wrong, then I will concede this.
like
Every person
wrapping-
I know who has ever been molested, it was not by a pedophile. I'll say that.
Oh, okay.
Do you know a lot of people that have been molested?
Yeah.
Oh,
Throughout my life, probably like 10 or 15, yeah.
okay.
All right, guys, look, I got to go. I have a
All right.
I have plans with my adult girlfriend.
What about? Okay.
I'm going to have to try to grit my teeth and pretend I'm attracted to her for one more day, so.
My God. Okay, just don't look at any CP with her, okay?
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
for the advice.
All right. Yeah. We'll talk
Augie?
later at some point.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
should
this
have,
was an interesting conversation.
Here's the thing. I let Tech and Bowblax were vocally talking to you yesterday, so I kind of just let them go at it. We'll have our conversation later. So.
Okay, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
All
be
right.
the adults in the room. Get these kids out of here.
Exactly. True.
I thought my arguments were pretty. Do you really think I was being? Do you really think, MrGirl?
I
Do you
will
really
say
think I was
Bowblax
being
did
childish and naive in my responses? Like,
No, I wasn't really referring to you.
Okay.
Naive. I think you're a bit naive about 16-year-olds. That thing I do think you're naive about, but not in your communication style or how you're thinking about it. I just think that
All right. Well.
I think you're drinking the social media Kool-Aid too much.
Okay. My opinion is based on, as I said in the Twitter discussion, my opinions are based on real life experiences and not online.
And my opinions are based on mine.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not dismissing them. I'm just discussing them with you and saying where I disagree. But
Okay,
you know,
if
that's how we have productive conversation. But yeah, I'm not drinking the social media Kool-Aid. I'm not like, you know, and yeah. There's. Well, we can discuss this more in depth later, but
I don't mean to be dismissive of you either. It's more just that I feel very defensive of the idea of thought crimes. I get very upset and emotional about it.
Yeah, and sometimes people who don't look into like the psychology of like pedophilia or what have you are a little too binary on like on what is reasonable and what isn't reasonable, and I do get that, but yeah. I just have a personal like belief of where the line should be drawn, and it just happens to align with like I guess mainstream media or whatever, but I do recognize the nuance of it, and I'm willing to discuss it.
Well, I appreciate that. So. I think I might just start a pedophilia deep dive and just get all of this out on the table, get it out of the way, and just be at my final stance, interview experts. I got a lot of pedophiles who want me to interview them. I think I should probably email them back.
Okay.
And just get this thing rolling.
All right.
Well,
make one big long hour-long video, the truth of pedophilia with like a big fancy thumbnail and everything.
Yeah, exactly. The big mic drop. All right, Augie, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
I'll see y'all later.
All right, that was interesting. I didn't expect him to say asexuality was something that needed to be fixed, but
he kept saying things I did not want to respond to for fear of my career.
So to give it like a charitable representation of what he is, I guess he's saying it's unhealthy to not have a sexual outlet, and that only sexual outlet shouldn't be kids, but if you have another one like adults, then if you just push the kid attraction to the side, it's fine. Like everyone needs a sexual outlet, I guess is what he's saying. And then also, I mean, I don't know why he had so much trouble like labeling himself as like either a pedo or hebephile or no map, because he has this this thing where he's like, oh, I'm going to talk about anything. I'm going to talk about the hard truth. You know, I'm not going to hide away from like certain terms or whatever.
He said the purpose of his channel was to like divulge like the harsh, brutal truths about himself.
Yeah, the harsh, brutal truth. And the harsh,
when you
brutal
ask
truth
what
of
he
him,
considers himself, he doesn't respond.
Yeah, and the harsh, brutal truth is that he's probably a no map, a non-offending, minor attracted person. He said he was attracted to the minors in Cuties, so that, but he's not offending, so that makes him a no map, right? It just makes sense. Non-offending, minor attracted person. right? Like that's the most accurate description.
That's
think.
literally what it would be if he's not.
Yeah,
lying
I'm not saying no map is pedo or hebephilia or whatever. I'm just saying that's what I think represents him the most. But I guess he doesn't have. And then he said there shouldn't be a label for it because it's normal. Okay, but then I guess he believes everybody's a no map. I mean, I'm white. Majority of people are white, but there's still a term for it. White.
That might
there's still a label for white. There's still a label for man, even though a lot of people are men. So
he probably doesn't like the connotation added to no map because he thinks that age group is like normal.
But isn't his whole platform to isn't his whole sorry to interrupt. Isn't his whole platform to break connotations though? To just say fuck it, I am this, and I don't care about the social stuff that goes with it. So he shouldn't have an issue with me calling him that if that's accurate.
He was saying like 14, 15 would be the most popular like age groups for men until the novelty worn off to Vosh. So like I'm assuming his threshold is around like 14. If I'm being charitable to him, like literally what he said when he's like doing a big like, oh, this is normal. This is what like most people would probably do based off of attraction. That's what I'm assuming because he's not answering the question.
Yeah, I just found it weird that he wouldn't answer that considering what he stands for. But yeah, I'm not gonna label him anything he doesn't. I don't know. I'll let him speak for himself. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but
yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I let y'all go at it because y'all were the most vocal, and honestly, it was just a good conversation between y'all. I didn't really want to butt in just to like justify my own existence there.
Dude, his hypotheticals make me want to fucking put a bullet in my brain.
Some of them
and then he swears by it. He's like, you need to respond to this.
I will say this. I disagree. And I'm sure we'll get into it in our conversation, but I disagree with the notion that somebody who like has thought about killing somebody is on the same level as somebody that's thought about like being sexually attracted to a kid, right? Like I might get mad and briefly I might be like, oh, fuck this guy, I'm gonna fucking kill him or one day or something. Or you might even think like a lot of guys will like often like fantasize about being in situations where they get to kill people in self-defense. Like this is like a relatively common thing, right? Mm-hmm. I don't view that and thinking about attraction to kids as on the same level. I think there's a different tier to it, right?
Yeah, because the satisfaction you would get out of like killing that person is to get that like annoyance out of the way, right? As like dehumanizing and trivial as that sounds. Obviously, no one acts on it, but that's the inherent urge.
I think
the inherent urge on being attracted to kids is because you want to fuck kids, and that's bad.
I think we don't think it's as bad because violence is like an innate like animalistic thing. But like the whole pedophilia thing is totally different because it has to do with like puberty and like biology is actually factored into it.
Yeah, and the reason why I said it, like I'm looking at my Twitter right now, I've got this person like in my comments, right? The palpable irony of this conversation makes it much funnier. People who are young, immature, early 20s may be entertaining online, but not smart. This is the first time I've heard you advocate for the idea of thought crimes while saying slurs on YouTube. Great stream, Augie. It's like there's a line to everything, right?
No one said you should be arrested if you think about fucking kids.
Right.
He was just saying like it wasn't bad, and I'm saying
like
that's bad.
Saying that it's objectively bad, as in it should be something that is dealt with, seen to, corrected, like responded to in some way, right? So it's like I'm not saying like arrest them for thinking things, right? I'm just saying that it's objectively a bad headspace to be in, and we should live in a society where people have good headspaces, right? Mm-hmm. I think that, I don't know.
And to compare it to like violence or whatever, if there's someone who has constant violent thoughts and like anger issues and stuff, and they never act on it, but they think about it constantly, maybe they need to get therapy as well. Like anger management is a thing. Like maybe they need to suppress that as well, you know?
Mm-hmm. As uncomfortable as it was, though, I'd say good conversation. I mean, there was some of it.
I mean, I got my thoughts out. I stumbled a little bit at the beginning.
You did very well, surprisingly well, I'd say.
I stumbled a little bit at the beginning because I mean, I ran out of my ADHD meds, so and I woke up like a couple hours ago, so my mind wasn't the sharpest, and I was a little rattled from last night. But I think as the conversation went on, I did better.
Oh,
also, I was trying not to get trapped into his hypotheticals because he seems to like not answer the question and then like go into like hypotheticals. and it kind of strays away from the main point.
Mhm.
I don't like going down his little lines of logic because I don't want to end up accidentally agreeing with him on something just because he was fucking talking for so long. That's why I was kind of worried about you, Bowblax, because you went down his hypothetical about some
Gay
weird
people?
shit. Yeah, some not
12-year-old twerking.
Oh yeah, the 12-year-old twerking. Like he does shit like that in between like trying to be super intellectual and like brutal honesty, and it's like, dude, you don't need to mention like how fucking hot a 12-year-old is to get this point across. It's just fucking weird.
And then he was being sarcastic. I was like, I don't think about like hotness versus another hotness of like a 12-year-old. To me, they're all the same. They're all not hot. They're all 12-year-olds. But then he was being sarcastic, like, yeah, like, oh, we all think about like the hotness level of 12-year-old. Like he thinks that people think that way. It's just weird. He thinks the way he thinks is typical, and I just disagree.
His thoughts on minors are so ambiguous that when he jokes about it, it makes me uncomfortable because I'm not 100% sure he's not serious. A lot of the times when people do stuff like that, you can tell, oh yeah, they're fucking around. I can't tell with this guy, which is why it makes me so fucking like uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it just really like this discussion, it like validates people who think who are adults and think like 16-year-olds are hot or whatever. And I think they shouldn't be validated. I think they should be. I don't think they're bad people if they don't act on it, but I think that's something that they should work through to suppress, not like embrace, you know? Because I don't know. I keep thinking back to like personal situations.
Well, the one thing you want to do in these conversations is never get too emotional, right? Which I don't think you did. But yeah, because I mean, when you get too emotional, that's when he is like, "Well, see, this is the problem, right?"
Yeah,
I don't think it's a problem, but he does, right? So when you're having a conversation with him, you have to avoid that. But I think you did a good job of that.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any point where you were just like,
because I have a personal experience I've mentioned.
You don't want to like. The thing is, you don't want to like moral like grandstand about personal stories generally in any conversation when you're talking about serious stuff, because the opponent. I talked about this with BX Bullet, right? Because she was like bringing up her situation to talk about like why what she had done was okay, and I'm just like, well, with all due respect, I don't care in the context of this conversation, right? Like we're not talking about your sob story and comparing it to like, you know, my sob story. That's not what I'm interested in. I want to have a conversation, right? So I thought you did a good job avoiding getting into the weeds with that. Man, if I had thought that a month ago I'd be hosting a pedophile debate with Technicals and MrGirl, I would not have seen that on the radar.
You gotta do a good new juicy clip for your channel right there.
Just the shit he said, it goes from Call of Duty to Call of Kidfucker, and it's like, it's such a 180 that it rattles me, and he does it on purpose.
Yeah,
he does this shit all the time.
I get the parallel he's trying to do, but again, I think
it does. I feel like the levels are so different. It doesn't work.
Yeah. The desire to murder versus the desire to fuck a kid, like that.
Violence is something that everyone like innately has, like to a certain degree.
That's what he's trying to express. He's saying everyone innately has an attraction to 16-year-olds as an adult. That's what he thinks. Which I disagree with, but that's literally what he thinks. And if that's true, protect your daughters and fucking sisters and shit. Like, god damn, Jesus, that's bleak. Holy shit. I hope that's not the case. I hope he's not right about that.
Even then, it's like the thing I was talking about, like the advertising Popeye's chicken. Like he's got pedophiles hitting him up in his DMs now. So like obviously some people are probably...
I don't like how he's creating like essentially... I don't want to put words in his mouth. Maybe he'd agree with what he says, but it feels like he's creating like a bit of a safe space for pedos.
You're allowed to talk to people, especially in the context of like putting together like a research document or like a research video on a specific topic, right? It just depends on how he does it. If he hosts these interviews where he's like validating them or something like that, well, that's an issue, right? But if he's just talking about them to understand their like thought process, understand like their mentality, I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah. If it's the latter, I don't have an issue with it. Yeah.
It just depends on what his video is.
I don't want to make a grandiose statement. It's just that's how I feel
Right.
at the moment, but I'm not making that as a definitive statement. no.
Because he said that people that always think and only think about being with children is bad. But then he also says, like, if you're attracted to children and adults, it's not necessarily bad. I just need to see how he handles that in like a real world application before I would make my final judgment on it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't like the way he does it. And I also don't like how he dealt with the Dr. K thing.
Stardust wanted me to read some messages on stream. What is this? She said because she wanted to call him, but she said she couldn't. So this is what she said. The Cuties film sexualizes girls in purpose. The filmmaker does it through camera angles, makeup, etc. They are meant to be more adult, but the point of the film is as women growing up, we're sexualized before we're ready. This is not an abnormal experience growing up. 16-year-olds who are post-puberty, or even younger, 13-year-olds who are post-puberty, have been accidentally hit on by older men who are unaware of their age. Please read my comment on stream if you can. And then she includes a study that says most child sex abusers are not pedophiles, experts say. Let me see.
These girls
here.
were very clearly much younger, though.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some of the
I'm a
clips
little bit
that,
unclear on the
that
point
Mr.
that-
Girl showed in his video.
I'm a little bit unclear on the point that she's trying to. Is she like? I don't want to put words in her mouth. Is she defending the issue? She's just giving the context of Cuties or something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the girls in Cuties are like supposed to be like 11 or 12 or whatever. Like literally, they don't
No.
even have
14,
like
yeah.
they don't
Maybe
even have
this
like
is a
full
hot-
breasts yet or anything like that.
Maybe
It's
this
like,
is a hot take, but I don't really like Cuties.
I've never seen it.
I am
and
not-
don't
I've
plan
never
on it.
seen it
I saw
either,
The
but-
clip that Mr. Girl put in his review because he did put like very like short, like 3-second clips of what the camera.
This
angles
is my
she's talking about and stuff.
experience. Yeah, nuclear take. Yeah, this is my experience with Cuties. As soon as I saw the movie got announced, when everybody started talking about it on Twitter, right? I read the description. I saw a few clips for a few seconds, and then I immediately looked away from the screen. I'm like,
Yeah,
that's my experience with
Yeah.
Cuties. So
yeah. It's not like these are like 16-year-olds who are dressed up to look like they're adults. These are like
yeah,
they're like 12-year-olds that are dressed up to be
They're very clearly
provocative.
underdeveloped.
Like you can't accidentally mistake them for an adult type thing. Like these are
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
a
like
fucking
within
stupid
12 and
point.
13
post the
range.
article.
And the fact that Mr. Girl was sexually attracted to that and he admitted that is now I don't think Mr. Girl's gonna do anything. So that's why I'm calling him no map, like non-offending. But I mean he said he's attracted to it, so that would make him non-offending, minor attracted person, right?
He's all about brutal honesty, yet won't
Yeah.
tell you what he's attracted to.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I don't think I'm slandering him by saying that it's quite literally what he said. I'm going based off of what he's saying.
Yeah, he doubled
Yeah.
down on that fact
so,
in the thread
yeah.
with you.
So I hope he doesn't think I'm like slandering him or being uncharitable by saying that, because that's literally what it stands for, right? I mean, he might not like the connotation, but it's all about facts, right? Not about what people take out of them. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he made a whole music video calling himself a pedophile. So I don't think he should be like ashamed or worried to say
Well-
what he is publicly when he's like advocating.
well,
for
he
this
said
shit.
if he
That
was,
was
didn't he say
obviously
earlier
a
in the
satirical
call?
video. But
Yeah,
if
that was
you
satirical,
compare it-
but like,
yeah.
if you're willing to go that far with like the satire and stuff, I don't think you should have a problem saying like, "Oh, I'm this," because he literally said earlier in the call that if he was a pedophile, he'd want everyone to know, but he won't tell people.
But
what
I think
he
the point of that
actually is.
song was to mock the idea that he's a pedophile, right? Like because he made
Yeah,
the purpose of him making that song was to make something that was so obviously satirical and clever, right? So that people would look at him in a more positive light. I think that's fair.
it's it's meta irony.
Yeah. And I mean, the song
meta
had that intended
irony
effect.
means that he's serious.
Well, maybe.
I was joking. It's a Sam Hyde doc reference.
Oh, I'm fucking stupid.
Because I don't know, but the
I'm
fact
thinking
that I
too
don't
hard.
know-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I do think that song had the intent of rectifying his image a little bit. And honestly, I think that he succeeded a little bit in that, because if you look at when the song came out, a lot of the people that previously were going super hard on him were like, this is kind of funny, right? Like
You
us.
should get him to debate Mama Max, your super chat.
Oh, huh.
That would be fucking interesting.
I could hit them up about that. I wouldn't hold out on that happening, but I mean, both of their
Ooh,
contacts.
that would be a
That's
battle.
not a bad idea.
Ages.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Mama Max would want to do that. I'm pretty sure Mr. Girl would, considering he's literally like a debate bro. But Mama Max, we'll see. I don't know. I'll ask him. I'll see what I'll float the idea to him. I'm gonna talk to him in a minute.
Mama Max said he thinks he's a pedophile on Half Baked. He just gives me like red flags and makes me uncomfortable. I'm not gonna like say anything about his character and like label him myself, but that's just.
Well, my new policy going forward is to. My policy going forward is to not label anybody. From now on, I'm going to just fucking criticize people for things that they've objectively done, right? If those things are pedophilic actions, then I'm just going to say it. But the problem is, and honestly, a lot of it was our drama. I just got tired of fucking defending the fucking different, like, well, this is pedophilia, but this is like something else. And this is, I just got tired of the semantical debate. So I'm just like, from now on, I'm just going to fucking criticize people for their actions instead of like the labels. That's my new policy going forward. I don't like debating semantics because I feel like if Mr. Girl wasn't so weird, there's probably parts because of my coverage on Zero that we'd probably agree. And like even the debate that I had with like you and Nick, right. But during the time that we were doing that debate, I wasn't making jokes about like fucking the girls or whatever. I think I think afterwards I made like an Ice Cube joke, but like, come on, that's we all got that was a joke. I'm not talking about her panties or whatever. It's just fucking weird. Yeah,
I don't like it.
No, I mean that's my new policy going forward. So and if you honestly, yeah, it's because of technicals.
My bad.
It's because of you. Fuck
My
you.
bad,
I don't want to
Shouty.
fucking argue this shit anymore. Fuck it. You know? But no, I think that's a fair policy, honestly. I think that it just is going to avoid a lot of confusion going forward. It's like, all right, I don't like Mini Lad because of this. I don't like Zero because of this, instead of like labels, because label arguments I'm just tired of. It's just,
you can't go wrong with just criticizing actions.
Yeah, actions over labels, in my opinion.